Hello everyone, it is I, KittenTuber. Um, I want to talk about a dream that I had, and if there's enough time to talk about rant stuff about a character that I enjoy, we will talk about that. Anyway, um, last night, I fell asleep pretty late. I don't really know at what time. But what I do know is that I fell asleep and I felt like I was sleeping for a while without having a dream. Like I said, for a while. And I felt like I woke up in my dream and I looked outside my window and we were at the old place where I used to live in Newark. Um I looked outside and the sun was really close and red. And the sky was turning like a blood red. It was really weird and scary. And I heard my brother playing something in the living room, so I went out of my room into the living room, and I was kind of freaking out. I was like, what's going on? What's happening? I don't understand what's going on, because I was genuinely confused of what was going on. I legit thought that this was real in my head. And he said, "Oh, you don't know? The world is ending." And I was genuinely confused. I was like, "You're kidding." It's like, "Nope, the world is ending." And I'm like, "You're just sitting here doing nothing, playing a video game?" And he said, "Yep, that's what I'm doing. It's the final day on Earth, so might as well have fun." And I was freaking out. I was actually having a panic attack in my own dream, and I couldn't wake up at this point. I was terrified, and my brother was trying to console me, being like, "Hey, it's alright." Not, it, it was bound to happen. And I asked him, "Is this for real? Is this like for real, for real?" And he said yes. And I asked, "Is there no other way of survival?" And he said, "There is, but we would need to be like super rich to get um to get on these spaceships to go into space to leave the dying Earth." And have we didn't have the money to to get on these like spaceships. We weren't financially wealthy at all, so um we were middle class, and they didn't consider us to go on this spaceship to get out of Earth. Maybe the final last couple of spaceships if it got all the rich people off of Earth first, because that was their main priority. So my brother basically said there's no chance of survival unless we were to sneak on, which is practically impossible. And I sat there and I blacked out in my dream. And I remember waking up for a second in real life, and I didn't wake up for very long. I was up for maybe like a minute or so before falling back asleep. And I legit thought, because the dream continued. The dream just continued on going, and I was very confused and terrified because I saw what I thought was just my life flashing before my eyes, because there was there was no chance of survival. My brother's like, well, do you want to go outside and at least watch the sun burn us to a crisp? Because at least it's pretty. And I looked at him and I said, might as well. And, he paused his game and he got up with me and took me outside. I asked where the rest of the family was, and he said they died in a car crash trying to get back here. And I was very upset about that. I started crying. He's like, it's okay, we'll be with them soon. And like an asteroid thing was coming down. It wasn't big, but it was big enough to like kill someone. And my brother was standing there. We were out like on the porch in the backyard, and he says, if we're gonna die, we might as well die now. Am I right? Come on and hit me, and I started to panic, and I pushed him out of the way. And then I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't go back to sleep because, well, that was very scary for me. I was terrified. It was one of the scariest moments. I really thought that it was real. I genuinely thought it was real. And when I woke up, I woke up like my heart beating really fast and not really knowing where I was at the moment. My head was spinning and I really thought that I was dead. I accepted it and pushed my brother out the way just to save him, and I don't even know how the dream ended. I don't know if there was a happy ending or if this was a genuine just nightmare. And it just seemed like it was. It was a complete and utter nightmare. I haven't had a dream like this in a long time about said end of the world. I've had dreams about it multiple times. Don't know why, it's just my brain likes to do that sometimes. And, last time that this happened, like a nightmare like this happened, was almost 2 years ago when I had this dream about, basically, Silent Hill alien movie. And that was one of the scariest dreams I've ever had in my life. Honestly, no kidding. Not that was, to this day, that dream still scares me. Because it was so vivid and so real, and I genuinely felt like I woke up and it was just terrifying for me. You know what, I'll talk about that dream and then we'll go on to see if we have enough time to rant. Okay, so about 2 years ago, I was not doing very well. I wasn't in the best mental state. I was going through a lot of mental issues. And at the time I did not have a school counselor to really talk to at the time, and I was going through a lot of stress, and one day I came back to home from school, and I went to bed quite early. It was maybe around 7 or 8 o'clock is when I went to sleep. At this time I usually go to sleep at like 1 o'clock in the morning because insomnia game. And I fell asleep relatively quickly, and that's when the dream started. As soon as I really drifted into sleep, I felt like I woke up. I woke up in this abandoned looking house. I was in my house that I live in now, and it was completely decrepit from what I saw. I sat up and my room was very mossy and crumbling down. It was just very strange. I sat up and looked out the window. And when I looked out the window, I saw that the grass was really, really, really high. And I remember there was this zombie deer thing that was walking through the grass, and it looked at me and then it ran off like a normal deer. I was very confused, so I got up. I went outside my room and I saw that everything in my living room, the roof was caved in. So I got really scared and I went upstairs and I saw both of my. So I went into my parents' room and I went onto the balcony. I saw both of my parents were dead. I went into my little brother's room. I saw my little brother dead, being eaten by these zombie crow thingies eating his flesh. And I walked downstairs into the kitchen and I saw my brother with this fungus stuff growing out of his stomach and he's dead on the floor. So I get up and go outside with a knife, completely terrified, crying my eyes out, and I see this dog. It's my dog, Dakota, and he's completely zombified, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this, and I had to slit his throat because he was about to hurt me. And crying and distraught and confused, I get up and I realize that I'm a lot older. I went into one of the cars that was abandoned on this road that I was walking down, and I looked into the mirror, and I saw that I was a lot older. I figured out that, wait, not that part yet. So I looked at myself wow, I look a lot older. So then I continue walking, and then I am in this town, and then sirens start going off, and then fog appears, and then this dude grabs me into this house. It's my old friend, let's just call him Jay. So Jay brings me into this place, into this house, and tells me to be quiet, and we hear this large thing outside, and we watch somebody still out there, and then slowly a bunch of birds go around this dude and completely rip him apart, basically pecking off his skin and pecking out his guts, and the dude dies, of course, and this beast thing goes away and seems it just flies off. The dude looks at me and is like, Winter, is that you? I'm like, oh my god, Jay, it's you, oh my god, it's been forever. So we have this little reunion and he tells me that we've all been asleep for 20 years. So at this point I'm 30. And I'm like, oh my god, we've been asleep for 20 years? And he's like, yeah, this beast thing put a poison in the air that made everyone fall asleep, and who didn't got eaten by these zombie bird things, zombie animals more and because of this thing in the air that turned them into said zombie things. I'm completely and utterly baffled. And, so me and him team up and we continue walking down, and he says there is a rescue place in Canada. The thing doesn't really go there often, it's too cold for it. This beast that he's talking about. So we continue walking and seeing all these abandoned cars. We have to fight off a few creatures, and we eventually end up in Canada. Now, this is like a rescue facility, and the town, the freaking city that we were in Canada was completely taken over by nature. It was actually really cool and looked like something out of The Last of Us. It was very interesting. At this point, I haven't rewatched The Last of Us, so at this point, I wouldn't have remembered much of it. So we are walking through, and we're so happy. We're like, oh my god, we're finally safe. We're finally safe. Everything's gonna be fine. We're finally safe. Me and him are talking, and the day goes on, and then the night goes, and then we wake up. And we all make sure that it's the same day. Everyone is like, yeah, we're the same. We haven't aged, it seems. And everybody doesn't even know what day it is because the sky is all grayed out and everything is really foggy. But the fog only gets worse when the beast thing comes through. It's kind of similar to Silent Hill. So, we are all having something to eat, and, I mean, we all wake up and we have something to eat, and we're just, talking to each other about where we were, where we came from, how long it took us to get here. And people were like, oh, cool, you guys are from America this year, you came far away. Not the farthest, but you came pretty far by foot, which is amazing. And we're like, yeah, I know, it is amazing how we even got here. Then we hear the sirens start going off, and, we all start getting really scared and trying to get inside, all of us inside, but me and my friend and a few other people are left outside with the beast. We're all freaking out and people are trying to get us inside, but it's too late. We look up to see what the beast looks like. I'll put up an image right now. This is kind of what it looked like in my dream. I'll put up another one right now. This thing was huge and it was dragon-like and foresty. It was very interesting because I can't draw, but that was basically what it is. Those aren't my art. That is from somebody on Pinterest, and all credits go to the original artist. Anyway, so this thing comes down and the smoke goes in. Me and Jay realize that we're dead, basically, and the birds start going and start attacking all these people. I can see the birds picking at their skin, going at their stomach, tearing out their stomachs and innards and guts. It's absolutely disgusting and just very, very, very gross. It was unbelievably gross, and it was so in detail in my head that it grossed me out. And the rest of the people that were running, like me and Jay, got roots around our legs and got rooted to the ground so we couldn't move. And so we were standing there watching these people die together, and I looked over at him and I say, I'm so sorry. We shouldn't have come here, I'm so sorry. He's like, no, it's my fault. I wanted to come here. This is my fault. We're gonna die because of me. We could have gone to somewhere safer, somewhere with less population. We could have survived. We're both crying, and the birds come and attack my friend Jay, and I watch him die in front of my eyes. And this man at the time was my best friend, and I just start crying. I'm bawling my eyes out. I've never had this happen before, so I'm watching this in complete and utter distress. And then once they're done with him, they come over to me, and I physically feel everything. I feel every peck and tear, and I watch myself die as I black out, and I wake up at really early hours of the morning, surprisingly, like 5 o'clock in the morning. And I sit up, and I'm like drenched in a cold sweat. I've never had a dream like this, and it sounds like something out of a horror movie, and honestly, I would love for a horror movie to be around this idea. Like a short horror film, something that would be actually genuinely scary. I remember waking up with so much fear and terror. It was crazy. This was the craziest dream I've ever had in my life. It was a mix of literally all of my fears into one dream. I don't just fear spiders or the dark or lightning. I have deep, dark fears like zombies. I'm genuinely afraid of zombies. They scare the crap out of me. I have a weird, irrational fear of Silent Hill and, sirens. Like, you know, the sirens that go off when, like, the, in Silent Hill, the you know, that sound, that crap scares me, and also fog really scares me. My family dying scares me. A disease that seems like unable to cure scares me. Me having to kill my own animals just to save their lives scares me. And it's just crazy that this is like that it happened in my head, and my head was like, ah ha ha, here you go, eat up, bestie. I was so scared. This was the scariest experience I've ever had, and I didn't watch, but I saw my parents, my little brother, my brother dead on the ground, and then I saw my old best friend, and finding out that we were asleep for 20 years was just surprising. And this new dystopian future was just crazy, just absolutely insane, and completely and utterly baffled me to the point of just like, what? Wow. This is just, wow. And, a year after that, a year after I had that dream, I told my therapist about it, and she kind of determined it was just my fears mixed into one. But she did agree that it was kind of concerning that I even had this dream in the first place. That my head came up with something that scared me so much that it legitimately traumatized me. And I think about this dream a lot, and I've written fan fictions about it, adding characters, adding like a good ending. But I don't think it deserves a good ending. I think it deserves that bad ending that it thought out for, because that just makes it 10 times more scary. Going back to the end of the world, basically, my fear is the world ending. One of my deepest, darkest fears is death, and the fear of the world just ending. I've watched a lot of disaster movies about the world ending, and that has been a main component about with my main 3 nightmares that I remember. I don't remember many of my nightmares, but I do remember 3. There was only 2 that I talked about. The third one was, again, about the end of the world, but, like, it was like 2012. It was basically 2012 in my nightmare, and I haven't even watched 2012 at this point, so it was just earthquakes, meteors, tsunamis, everything that you can think of. And it's just that these three main dreams that I've had just the similar aspect of the world just ending in the strangest or even most naturalist way. The sun was gonna blow up one day, and my dream was literally about the sun getting so close to the earth that it was making the sky red and literally burning up our, earth, going to kill us and sending asteroids down, killing us. And the fact that, like, I woke up and I fell back asleep and it continued, I feel like that's the scariest part because I thought it was real. I genuinely thought I was gonna die. This was gonna be my last moments. I was literally panicking in my own dream. And when I was genuinely having a panic attack in my own dream. And when this happened, I remember just being scared. I was terrified. I was having a panic attack. I didn't know what was right, what was wrong. And it was just, it's just hard to think about. And because, like, I woke up for, like, 1 minute and then I fell back asleep and it continued and I thought I saw my life flash before my eyes and I thought that was where I was going to die. Genuinely, I thought that this was it. And just how monotone everything was, it sounds like something that my brother would genuinely say. It scared me. It genuinely scared me. And honestly, my dream that I told you about, the Silent Hill knockoff, I feel like that would be such a cool idea for a movie. And I honestly hope for it to get, like, a movie one day, because that would be so cool to have my dream turn into a movie. But that's probably never gonna happen, but who knows. Anyway, this was just all about me talking about my nightmares, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry if this, like, triggered any of you. I'll put a trigger warning in front of the dream that I talked about. But I've always had a mind for gore and blood and zombies and horror because I grew up with horror all my life. It was just something that I grew up with when I was a kid, and it just followed me, and I don't mind it because I really like horror, and it's one of my favorite things to watch, and I watch a lot of horror. I love a lot of horror movies. Anyway, comment down what your favorite horror movie or your worst nightmare was. I would love to see it. Anyway, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye!